This week is a bit of a roller coaster ride as Venus squares Pluto on Thursday, March 16th, the energy that is felt most of the week, at least first half of the week. And then in the evening of the same day, Thursday, March 16th, Venus will enter Taurus, and that feels like a warm hug, a delicious meal, and a sense of everything is going to be okay when you get home in the evening after a stressful day. Venus will stay in Taurus until April 11th, blessing us with beauty, good luck, and graceful and happy relationships. Let's take a look at both of those events and break them down for all 12 signs. My name is Anastasia. I'm a traditional Western astrologer specializing in natal, relationship, and predictive readings. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe. Leave me a like or a comment. I really appreciate that. It helps my channel grow and makes me happy, as well as encourages me to put out more videos. If you'd like to work with me, there are links down below. And I want to mention that another part of my business, besides doing readings and creating content for you guys, is capturing planetary energy and making candles and oils with more benevolent, strong placements. Basically, I was born with Venus in Virgo. Venus in Virgo is considered a planet in her fall. And when I first dove into astrology, I would hear a lot about having a challenging placement, but there wasn't a whole ton of advice on how to work with it. And one of the forms of planetary remediation includes kind of planetary magic work. So this has started as a desire to help myself, and it has turned into a business idea. And basically, this is my latest creation. It's Moon in Cancer. The candle is made of natural soy, has a silver foil inside, and it has the Moon in Cancer, strong position and an aspect to Venus conjoining Jupiter. So really good for people struggling to relax, for people struggling in their relationships with women, mothers, if you need help with fertility, if you need help manifesting things. The Moon was waxing in here, so she's gaining light, she's lit up and bright and helpful for drawing things your way. So this could be like a perfect candle to light up every time there's a new moon and you're setting your intentions, because it will infuse your intentions with that much more power. Especially good for people with a moon in Capricorn or Scorpio, if your moon is in the dark house, 8th, 6th, or 12th. And if it's in an aspect to Saturn or Uranus or Pluto or Chiron. So could be good for most of us, basically. I also have multiple other candles, like this is one of them, Jupiter in Pisces. Very special because Jupiter is not returning to Pisces until 2033. I only have 8 left. And Jupiter in Pisces candle helps with confidence, optimism, and foresight, as well as Jupiter in Pisces is very spiritual and a lot more chill than the current Jupiter in Aries energy. So it can help you get more aligned with yourself. So this is it in terms of all of the announcements. Oh, the final thing, I've been talking about retreat, me hosting an astrology retreat, and there has been a change. I have been saying we're going to go to Mallorca and Ibiza. It doesn't look like that's going to happen. There's been some pricing issues. I'm trying to get the best deal for everyone. So it looks like now it might be Costa Rica. I will keep you posted. If you'd like to get notified when the retreat goes live, there's a link down there as well. So this week, like I said, is a bit of a roller coaster ride, right? We have Mars squaring Neptune on Tuesday. We have Venus applying to a square with Pluto up until, midday Thursday. On the same day, we have Mars, the Sun, get in a square with Mars. So it's a lot of tension, but I think the fact that Venus enters Taurus in the evening on the same day, Thursday, March 16th, is very promising. Let me tell you exactly when she will enter Taurus. So 6:34 p.m. Basically, Up until 6:34 p.m. on Thursday, there might be more drama. And then Venus will stay in Taurus until April 11th. So the tension starts to build, like I said, about like 3 days before, considering that Mars has been approaching a square with Neptune. It's, it probably started with the full moon. How was your full moon? Did you have a good full moon in Virgo? I feel like there's been like so many feelings around me, like my personal feelings, but also just like people are emoting very loudly. Maybe I'm picking up on it as well. But like just today, I took a bar class and my bar instructor asked one of the ladies, how is she doing? And she burst into tears. So a lot of emoting, a lot of feeling. But yeah, like as far as, this week, tension starts to build about 3 days before. So on March 13th, on Monday, it culminates early in the day, afternoon on Thursday, March 16th, and then kind of released as Venus enters Taurus at 6:34 p.m. Eastern. It feels to me like a kid throwing a tantrum, and Venus and Aries is very self-driven in a lot of ways. It's very independent. It's very self-aware. It's like Xena, the princess warrior, or is she just the warrior? But she's like a fighter. She's independent. When it gets in a square with Pluto, it has his own like thoughts, right, and beliefs. So the tension, there's like an energy here of like, this is what I want and I'm not gonna budge. And you have that energy. You have these like Venus in a square with Pluto can bring explosive exchanges, some drama in relationships, romantic but not only, destructive actions like being obsessive, trying to manipulate your partner, trying to like pick at them and do things that damage your relationship, power struggles. Like I said, the strongest vibe I get from it is like, I want this and this is it, and I don't care for what you have to say. And that's why I said it's like a kid throwing a tantrum. You can't reason with like a 3-year-old on the ground wailing that they want something, right? You sort of have to wait for things to pass, or you have to distract them with something. So I feel like Venus entering Taurus is like a kid getting what they want or getting something that might be better than what they want. So expect to feel like a kid throwing a tantrum early in the week, and then as Venus enters Taurus, you get like an ice cream cake, or you get like a toy car or something. So definitely like a bunch of air gets released out of your bubble, right? And you sort of chill and you relax. I'm curious to see on a personal level how this will manifest, but I think definitely that's how it feels. I think like a lot of pressure, a lot of tensions, and then it gets released and things get smoothed over. And I think in general you just become a lot more willing to compromise, more willing to hear the other side of the story. And like Sun squaring Mars on the same day is not easy, but it's also, it's also like the aspect that goes live, that goes exact early in the day, so you can expect more kind of tests of character and competition and like bravado in the air. Some of the things that I would recommend being careful with is like, watch out for pushing really hard to get your way. The other person doesn't have to agree with you. They don't owe you anything, most likely, right? Nobody really does. We are operating on the sense of like cooperation and agreement, but you cannot force things. Watch out for using manipulative and like underhand tactics that can be destructive for the relationship in the long run. Dedicate all of this passionate energy to fighting for a cause, representing an underdog, pursuing a passion project, exercising, or sex can be especially kind of powerful and passionate. Try to be patient, try to be kind, try to be self-aware, and look at these challenging times as an opportunity to accept yourself, right? In some way, accept yourself, and also perhaps examine what are you holding on to too tightly. So Venus enters Taurus, and like I said, things do get better. In Taurus, Venus is in her home sign. I did a video last year about Venus entering Taurus. You can check that out, in my video archive. But to like give you a quick summary, Venus in Taurus is Venus in the sign she rules, and any planet in the sign she rules, it rules, is like in her own home, right? Like Taurus is the sign of like slow, steady, loyal affections. It's the sign of beauty. It's the sign of art. So Venus comes to Taurus and she's surrounded by beauty. She's surrounded by support. It's a yin version of Venus, so she doesn't have to work really hard. Things tend to come her way. But definitely we become more able to handle things with patience and grace and compromise. Venus stays in Taurus until April 11th, so you can definitely expect better relationships, more creativity, more interest in loyal and stable relationships. You will be more sensual, more sexual, more tactile, more interested in delicious foods, right? It's going to bless the sector of your chart, and I'm going to give you insights on where and what exactly it will bless. But in general, I think it's like lovely to have Venus in her home sign. Yes, we might be a bit more self-indulgent. We might be a bit more possessive and controlling of the people we love. So make sure you're not trying to treat or not treating people in your life as property. So don't be too rigid and stubborn, but try to create, try to interact and build relationships with the thought of like longevity in mind. So let's take a look at what kind of dramas can Venus square Pluto bring you, and where will your focus shift, or where you will find some peace afterwards. If you are an Aries rising, early in the week, Venus in your first house is going to be squaring Pluto in the 10th house, and then Venus will enter Taurus on Thursday, the 16th. So Venus in a first house squaring Pluto in the 10th could bring conflicts between your desires and the duties you have to other people, or your work, right? Like there might be personal thing you're trying to achieve and some work drama that is contradicting you. You will likely to feel like my way or the highway, and have like this strong need to win, a strong need to be right. So you need to be careful when it comes to that. Like watch out for trying to assert yourself and trying to dominate other people. Or watch out for like kind of impulsive, devil may care, let it burn attitude, because it may not be worth it, or, you may do more damage than good for yourself and for other people. As Venus enters your second house later in the day on Thursday, March 16th, you can definitely feel more of a pull towards compromise. I feel like with Venus in the second house, you are likely to feel like more aligned with yourself, more self-reliant, an increase in self-worth, especially if you're able to handle the situation this week with patience. It can even bring a reward, right? Like, because Venus is going into your second house, which means that your finances are increasing. So perhaps this tense situation, this drama, like tense client, problematic exchange with your boss, actually results in a raise or results in a bonus, right? Or at the very least, a sense of recognition, a sense of like inner peace and happiness. Overall, until April 11th, Venus being in your second house is lovely for investing into beauty. Whatever you buy will likely increase in value. You may be spending more money as well as making more money. If you are a Taurus rising, Venus in Aries, your 12th house, is going to square Pluto in the 9th before Venus enters first. So this feels, as always, right, like a need to control things, a need to control the outcome. Venus in the 12th could be self-destructive to a point that you are maybe being so kind of harsh on yourself and so critical and like pushing yourself really hard. The square to Pluto in the 9th makes me feel like maybe there is an educational matter that you're struggling with. Maybe there is like a travel matter that you're like pushing yourself to get through. As well as just a sense of like ideological battles and your beliefs getting tested. But it's very much like there's something outdated, I think, that you believe that needs to be released. There can also be a breakthrough, like maybe you get into an ideological debate, or maybe you push yourself too hard, and that leads to a breakthrough, right? Like Venus in the 12th squaring Pluto in the 9th could also very much be a breakthrough in therapy, like learning to understand yourself better. Because what happens right after that is Venus goes into your first house, and Venus in the first is beautiful. It's Venus in rulership. It makes you feel more confident in yourself, more secure. It's your chart ruler in her home sign, in your first house. So kind of like inner sense of validation, inner sense of growth, a sense that you're working on yourself. You may even get like rewarded somehow, right? Like Venus in the first house tends to bring a lot of goodies. Goodies? So until April 11th, you can expect to be like softer, more receptive, more charming, better at like manifesting things. Could be also a great period to upgrade your look and improve your relationships with other people. You know, get a haircut, paint your nails a unique color. It's guaranteed to be beautiful. Of course, if you're doing it yourself, like don't cut your own hair unless you're like, you know what you're doing. If you are a Gemini rising, we have Venus in Aries 11th house squaring Pluto in the 8th, right before Venus enters 12th. Venus in Aries 11 squaring Pluto in the 8th makes me feel like there is some kind of crisis to a friendship, or crisis to a group project, or crisis to a dream where maybe you have this. Like you can also be like very much like, I have this vision, I need to achieve this vision. And the crisis can be connected to the lack of resources, or to things out of your control, or to a disagreement with the other person, right? Like your vision can be at odds with their vision, or like very literally with the resources you have available. Maybe you want your child to go to the best school, but they don't have any spots left anymore. So you kind of get into this frustrating situation where you're trying to push, but there's nothing that can be done, right? Like, and so as Venus enters your 12th house, I think you may find more acceptance. You may find more joy in spirituality, right? There might be some kind of sense of like, it's okay, more Zen feeling. So you're like, your frustration kind of gets replaced by a more peaceful attitude. You're likely to enjoy travel until April 11th while Venus is in Taurus. You will enjoy traveling. You will enjoy kind of even like, you know, like I wonder if like Venus squaring Pluto means that your creative vision is not getting, things are not moving as quickly as you'd like them to, or you need to be more patient, right? And then Venus goes into your 12th house, and it says that you still feel inspired. You still can do things, but maybe you need to just like take a break, right? Like Venus in the 12th house is like Venus behind the scenes. It's a very inspired Venus, but she spends more time alone. She maybe goes in nature, gets inspiration through that. So it could be like a good time to take a step back and review your vision and try not to push as hard. Romantically, relationship can also go behind the scenes, and there might be more romance that a lot of people don't, or nobody really knows about. Watch out, as always, with Venus in the 12th house. Watch out for going for people who are not right for you. People who seem really exciting on paper, but maybe are unavailable and destructive for you. If you are a Cancer rising, we have Venus in Aries 10th house squaring Pluto in the 7th before Venus enters 11th house. And you have contradiction here or drama between your professional desires and your relationship. So maybe you had this dream about traveling, right? Or like you got an opportunity to travel and teach, but you have a little child and your partner is unable to watch the child. So there might be a sense of like trying to force the partner and convince them to give up their goals. But it would do you more good to be kind of mindful and concerning and thoughtful when it comes to their needs as well. Some kind of odds between like your view of the future, your goals, your outward aspirations, and your relationships. Maybe a partner or another person is doing things that you feel are blocking you. But at the same time, sometimes we don't understand in the moment what the meaning behind the event is, right? Sometimes it's about trust, and it's about believing that in the long run, you will figure it out. So try not to hold on too tightly and try not to force things. What's interesting, Venus enters your 11th house in the evening on Thursday, March 16th, and she stays in your 11th house until April 11th. So I wonder if there is like, if maybe you just need to rethink your vision, if maybe you just need to rethink your career and your dreams. It might be that you have a friend who provides an insight, or a friend who lends a helping hand. Maybe they agree to watch your child while you're away, or like offer some kind of tangible solution, tangible advice. In general, Venus for the next, 3 weeks ish, right, will be helpful when it comes to your social relationships, when it comes to expressing yourself in a group context. You have more charm, you have more oomph to you. You may be meeting people who share your interests, or starting some kind of groups, starting social media projects. Those will go well. And dating a friend is also a possibility here too. If you are a Leo rising, Venus in Aries, your 9th house is going to square Pluto in the 6th early in the week between March 13th and 16th, and then it's going to enter Taurus in the evening of March 16th, Thursday, and that is your 10th house. So Venus in the 9th squaring Pluto in the 6th feels like there might be some kind of drama related to work, or your health, or your like work load at odds with your beliefs, right? Like Venus in the 9th wants to travel, wants to study, it wants to grow and take on new things. But Pluto in the 6th says like, yeah, okay, you want this, but there's all these things that you need to handle. You have all these items on your to-do list. And there might be a sense of like frustration, trying to force things, trying to, maybe force other people to do things for you, or sort of like a sense of like throwing things in the air and walking away. And I would encourage you not to, because shortly after, on Thursday evening, Venus enters your 10th house. So this could even be a sense of like a new professional opportunity presents itself. Because Pluto is in your 6th house, right? And the 6th house is the place of work. It's the place of grind. So work and grind can feel really frustrating, but Venus entering the 10th feels like maybe there's a chance to start a career, right? Not like a work, but like take on a passion project. Do something that gets you excited, because Venus in the 10th until April 11th will definitely smooth out all of your relationships with colleagues. It will encourage you to do things that are creative and joyful. It will make you more charming at work. And it's likely if you're waiting on something like starting a business, or asking for a raise, or asking for a new project, or asking for support, now is the time. Between March 16th, maybe 17th, wait for some of the drama to clear, and April 11th. So great time to pursue art projects, work with beauty, and do creative work. If you are a Virgo rising, we have Venus in Aries, 8th house, squaring Pluto in the 5th before Venus enters the 9th. And here I see this as like you wanting to have like a really tight grip on the outcome of your romantic relationship. There might be tensions surrounding sharing in a relationship, surrounding money and values and resources, where on the negative, right, like there might be a tendency to try to control things and like try to have your way. If it's a creative partnership, maybe you're trying to get like, I don't know, 99% of the output under your control. If it's a romantic partnership, maybe there is some drama surrounding your shared finances. You may be involving children into the drama, right? I feel like it's also it's interesting because there's a sense of like, yeah, like my way or the highway. Or it could also even be coming from your partner, like, because Venus in Aries 8th house could also be a sign that your partner has this very like clear vision that they're trying to impose on you. But what's interesting is Venus enters Taurus, your 9th house, in the evening on Thursday, March 16th. It's going to stay there until April 11th. And Venus in Taurus can be, it's the 9th house, so it's the place of beliefs, it's the place of philosophy. So maybe you realize that the things that you were disagreeing on have the same root. Or at the end of the day, you both want the projects to succeed, right? The project to succeed, or you both want your child to succeed, or a romantic relationship to succeed. So this might be a chance, I think Venus entering the 9th, which is very much the place of like faith and vision and ideals, can help you see things from the other person's perspective, or can also help you see what unites you rather than what separates you. I think like definitely, you know, like seeing an opportunity for a compromise that could have not felt like it was available to you earlier. In general, Venus being in the 9th house until April 11th is really good for traveling, for taking a class in something that deals with beauty, art, sexuality. Good for writing, presenting your ideas. You can experience good luck when it comes to legal matters, and love gets connected to travel and foreign people. So meeting someone while traveling is highly likely. You definitely will find more pleasure in like taking yourself outside of your comfort zone. If you are a Libra rising, early in the week between Monday and Thursday, we have Venus in Aries, your 7th house, squaring Pluto in Capricorn in the 4th, right before Venus enters your 8th house. So Venus in the 7th, squaring Pluto in the 4th, feels like there's some kind of relationship drama that has to do with your or your partner's family, with your living situation, maybe with home matters, right? Like maybe there's something you are trying, like I feel like battles for control in a relationship are quite likely, right? Like, and Pluto in the 4th feels like some of the past family karma is coming for a visit. Are you fighting about something relevant to your relationship, or are you trying to, you know, assert yourself and trying to win the fight that you didn't win with your father, right? Like be mindful of how you may be having a fight that like that the reason for is more hidden and less clear than it might seem. Be careful of wanting to be right or like needing to be right. As Venus enters your 8th house in the evening on Thursday, March 16th, and stays there until April 11th, Venus in the 8th is very much about compromise, right? Like 8th house is the place of like shared things, shared resources, shared values. So you're trying to find a way to understand each other. 8th house is also a place of like healing and transformation. So you may experience a different perspective on the old issue, and you may see things from the point of view of the partnership, right? Sort of understand that it's not about being right. It's about compromise and maybe agreeing to disagree. Venus being in the 8th until April 11th is great for researching, doing investigative work, working in matters that relate to esoteric, tarot, astrology, anything like that. There might be more intimacy. Your partner might be more generous with you because Venus in the 8th can very much be your partner benefits from it. Like they get a raise or they get a job and they treat you, right? Like you get a gift, you get gifts through other people. You also will get gifts, opportunity, as in good luck when it comes to collaborations. So it's a lovely time to work with somebody else on a project. Also a really good time to pay off any debts and taxes. You may actually get like a good tax refund. That's why I haven't filed my taxes yet. I'm gonna do it as soon as Venus goes into Taurus. Are you a Libra rising? Have you filed your taxes yet? Let me know. If you are a Scorpio rising, Venus in your 6th house is gonna square Pluto in the 3rd, right before Venus enters your 7th house. So Monday through Thursday, there are tensions, right? Venus in the 6th squares Pluto in the 3rd. And there's a sense that something in your everyday life is not going in accord to your desires. Venus in the 6th wants to have like harmonious relationships at work. It wants to heal. It wants to serve others. But there's a square to Pluto in the 3rd, meaning that, you know, there might be problems connected to siblings, neighbors, schedule, some kind of like technical issues, communication difficulties, something that maybe needs to be said, needs to be addressed, some kind of like stressors in your environment that demand your attention. Watch out for fighting and trying to kind of push your opinion on other people. Instead, try to have an honest conversation. What's interesting is in the evening on March 16th, on Thursday, Venus enters your 7th house and Venus will stay there until April 11th. So the mood changes from I need to be right, I need to have the last word, to that of compromise, to that of negotiation. Might also be a sign that someone comes into your life, right? Venus in the 7th house could be like a couples counselor or your boyfriend or your girlfriend. They provide answers and suggestions. Definitely feels like, you know, you become better at compromising and better at dating. Venus being in your 7th house between March 16th and April 11th is really lovely for, you know, dating and signing contracts and doing business dealings and asking people for support. Your partner might be going through a good time too. Venus in the 7th could be a sign of a partner growing and, you know, experiencing a sense of new beginnings in their life. If you are a Sag rising, Venus in your 5th house is going to square Pluto in your 2nd house before she enters your 6th on Thursday, March 16th. So Venus in the 5th squaring Pluto in the 2nd feels like a conflict of values in your romantic relationship. There might be financial difficulties that are blocking you from becoming a parent, or, you know, kind of delaying your aspirations and goals connected to children. Some kind of money and values conflict that affects the 5th house, which is romantic relationship, children, fun, joy, creativity, right? So a lot of different possibilities. Like it could be a disagreement with a creative partner. It could be a disagreement with a romantic partner about some core values, and tensions related to children. Maybe your children are grown up and there is a sense of having different ideas of spending money, right? So something creates drama in your life early in the week between Monday and Thursday, and then in the evening on Thursday, March 16th, Venus enters your 6th house and stays there until April 11th. And I feel like Venus in the 6th house means that you are ready to do the work to solve the problem. You look at things from a more rational perspective versus being kind of hot-headed and impulsive and not listening to other people. You're more willing to compromise, right? As is the case with everyone. 6th house is the place of health. It's the place of work, and it's the place of facing kind of difficulty. So Venus in the 6th house could make those matters easier. So whatever it is you're starting on, like, you know, if this conflict has revealed some kind of issue when it comes to a creative project, Venus in the 6th says that, okay, we'll take a different approach. We'll work together. We'll work in harmony. If you have been trying to become pregnant, right, and there were some issues there, or like you were freezing your eggs and maybe you didn't have enough money with this transit, Venus in the 6th house says that, like, okay, we're going to take it one step at a time. Maybe we'll figure out a way to come up with a payment plan. So there's definitely, or, you know, like, take better care of the health so you can freeze more eggs, or you can get pregnant next year, or whatever it might be. Venus in the 6th is also really good for building harmonious professional relationships, for beautifying your workspace, and for taking on work that is more enjoyable. You may also find that you're socializing with your colleagues a lot more, and even potentially dating someone you work with. If you are a Capricorn rising, Venus in your 4th house is going to square Pluto in the 1st, right before it enters the 5th. So this is all, you know, the square lasts between Monday, March 13th and Thursday, March 16th. And then in the evening of March 16th, Venus enters your 5th, where she will stay until April 11th. So early in the week, there's some drama connected to home and family. And this could be literal kind of issues connected to your living situation, some kind of you're dealing with your landlord and you're facing some drama there. But it can also be more connected to your family karma and things that you are working on addressing, but kind of, you know, they come to you for one of the final hoorays as Pluto is about to exit Capricorn. So some kind of like past ghost that you need to address. Yeah, like look at where you're holding on too tightly. Look at where you're trying to have things be your way, and maybe you need to compromise, right? Like, I have a Capricorn rising client who is in a legal battle over the property of her brother. And so this could be like a sense of, you know, kind of really being, and I don't know if that's the case, you know, but like the example could be like being non-compromising and being like, this is what I want to happen. But then perhaps the answer is compromising, because then the result comes faster and more peace is gained and less stress affects you. And, you know, like I said, this could be like any kind of example of like you versus family, or you versus, even like whatever is blocking your sense of comfort may need to be addressed. As Venus enters your 5th house in the evening on Thursday, March 16th and stays there until April 11th, you get to perhaps approach things from a more lighter perspective. You may find a way to heal your past through creativity. There might be a sense that your romantic relationship or your child are giving you some answers and some support and bring more like light into your life. Definitely between March 16th and April 11th, your powers of manifestation are higher. Venus rejoices in the 5th house. You're better at dating. You enjoy more harmony in love. You enjoy better relationships with children. And you are more creative. So it's a great time to take on creative projects and go on dates. If you are an Aqua rising, Venus in Aries, your 3rd house is going to square Pluto in the 12th between Monday, March 13th and Thursday, March 16th. And then she's going to enter Taurus, which is your 4th house, on March 16th, where she will stay until April 11th. So early in the week, there might be some kind of tensions when it comes to communication, something you're not saying or something you're saying too forcefully. Watch out for being very kind of direct and harsh in what you say, right? Try to be more compromising if you can, if the situation allows for it. There might be certain like issues and a desire to kind of have control over your schedule, over your everyday. May be like conflicts with siblings, issues with neighbors, but definitely feels like more like kind of irritants when it comes to your mental output. It could even be square Pluto in the 12th. Like there could be some kind of self-defeating tendencies, self-doubt, something that is blocking your progress, because Venus in the 3rd house would also want to pursue hobbies and pursue skills and have fun in the everyday life. But Pluto in the 12th could be a source of like agony and, you know, irritation and frustration, and some of it might be self-imposed. As Venus enters your 4th house between March 16th and April 11th, Venus will say that your home and your family are supporting you, and they may be a source of upliftment and joy, and your relationships with them improve. As well as, I wonder if Venus being in your 4th house could be a sign that, you know, you need to change your immediate environment. Maybe you need to bring improvements to your home and make your home more comfortable and make your immediate environment more supportive. But also look at, kind of build yourself a comfortable nest, right? Like start within, start building your future from your home and your immediate environment. Get yourself some flowers, hang up some paintings, hang out with people you love, and you will get over the more irritating energy of the start of this week. Now, if you are a Pisces rising early in the week between Monday and Thursday, Venus will be squaring Pluto. Venus in your 2nd house will be squaring Pluto in the 11th, right before Venus enters your 3rd house. So between Monday, Thursday, March 13th, 16th, we have Venus in the 2nd square Pluto in the 11th. And there might be conflicts and frustrations surrounding money and values. You know, it squares Pluto in the 11th, so I wonder if you have Pluto in the 11th could be like very attached to a specific outcome, very attached to a vision, and not budging, not kind of agreeing to compromise. We have like the house of groups with the house of your personal values, right? Like at odds with one another. Perhaps you need to examine your vision, right? Like examine how you want things to be, and also like places and relationships in which you're trying to control the outcome, or where you're not willing to compromise and not willing to hear other people out, because there might definitely be some kind of drama with friends or even your loved ones, because there's a disagreement about values, and that is affecting like your future plans and your relationships. I really like the fact that Thursday night Venus enters your 3rd house. It's going to stay in your 3rd house until April 11th. It's Venus and rulership. So your communication kind of softens. You become more willing to talk things out, to negotiate, to be diplomatic. There might also be more of an ability to rethink things and to look at your schedule and your skills from a perspective of like, how can I use my time better? Versus having this like, you know, narrow field of vision, very like straightforward. So like, how can you, maybe you need to make a plan, maybe you need to change your schedule, maybe you need to start writing, right? Like kind of take small steps that bring you closer to where you're trying to go. A good time to make amends, a good time to, like I said, write, take up any new skills, even make changes, like improving your immediate environment, improving your everyday life, like adding things that are supportive, looking at how you communicate with others, and like saying things to yourself that are encouraging and loving and beautiful could be a great way. And Venus in the 3rd house is definitely really good for taking your ideas, exploring them, expanding them, bringing them to fruition and bringing them to other people, asking others for support. It's great time for short trips. It's great, like your relationship with your neighbors and siblings will be very beautiful, and they can actually provide some answers for the problems that you may be dealing with. This is it on the challenging energy of this week. It's not all bad. There is, of course, some frustrations, but things do get better, as they always do. The life is not one color, right? It's very colorful. It's not even black and white. It's full of different shades and colors. But I'm excited for Venus and Taurus. I hope this video left you with some hope and optimism and excitement as well. And I hope you have a great week. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.